Hey, this is John from whatifi, and in this sample scenario, we're going to analyze a fictional company that's trying to decide whether they lean into cost per click advertising or establish an outbound sales team. We have 4 different scenarios in this model. If you're not familiar with whatifi, whatifi is a visual scenario builder where you can connect together pre-built business logic events. And we have a whole host of these, from debit, credits, income, expense, banks, and loans, QuickBooks integrations, through to things in our sales module like customer growth, churn, segments, and allocation, and a whole host of other building block type events. In this model, we're going to have 4 scenarios. We're going to have active customers, website visitors. We're going to look at what happens if we hire an outbound sales team, whether we look at bringing on a senior sales hire or a junior sales rep. We're going to look at 2 different cost per click ad campaigns and run that through unit cost, website conversions, and revenue. So let's dig a little bit deeper here. In our first event here, this is a customer event, and we currently have 1,000 active customers effective January 1st of 2023. And we seem to be getting 7,500 people that are organically landing on our website every month as well. Just jumping ahead here, our product is a one-time purchase product here. So it's $750 as a one-time. This is fancy product A. Our revenue event allows us to multiply our active customers times our product here to look at what our revenue is for this scenario. And we have 4 ways of generating our customers here currently. So let's start with one of our first scenarios here. We're going to drill down into this scenario here. This is per event graphing mode. And we can look a little bit more specifically at what happens in this use case. In this use case, we're establishing an outbound sales profile. So we're saying that to sell to this type of user, the average salesperson can close 8 deals per month with a lead time of 3 months. So on average, they're closing 8 deals a month. Okay? In this particular decision, we're looking at hiring a senior salesperson. So Bill is very experienced here. He's in Boise, Idaho. He makes $150,000 a year, and he's available in July of 2023. In this particular model, we're not highlighting commission. That is something that you can do in whatifi. And then we're saying if we hire Bill, we're using our salesperson event to actually model his bandwidth. So because Bill is a senior experienced person, we expect him to spend 100% of his time selling to this cohort, but we actually think he's going to be able to close 1.5 as many deals as our average salesperson profile can. So as a result, that funnels through into the rest of our revenue model, and then we can calculate that revenue model. In our another scenario here, this one is slightly different. Here we're looking at hiring Sue, who is a junior sales rep. She's a lot less money, $65,000 a year, but she can start sooner in our sales plan. In her use case, she's also only going to be available part-time, so she's going to spend 80% of her time selling, and we have a multiplier of 0.65 because we think it's going to take her longer and she's not going to be as effective as a salesperson. In our other scenarios here, instead, we are not doing outbound sales and we're just doing cost per click. So in this particular model here, we want to drive more users to our website. So what we're looking at doing here is spending $20,000 a month driving users to our website. This is going to start in August of this particular year, and we think it's going to be $25 cost per click to send somebody to that website. In our alternate model, we're saying it's going to be $50 with that same spend. So what we're able to do now is calculate all 4 of these scenarios to compare them against each other to see what that does to our customers in our drive-through. So keep in mind, we're generating customers 2 different ways. We do have our traditional website visitors. In one model, we're supplementing that with salespeople. In our other model, we're amplifying those website visitors and have them naturally convert. Now that's important. Now let's take a look at our website conversion. So a website conversion or customer transfer event allows us to do a scenario on percentage of website visitors every month that become active customers. So here we're saying 5% of our users become active customers. And we could model out different scenarios there if we want to. Actually, let's do that on the fly. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put in a decision event. And actually, before I do this secondary event here, let's first analyze all 4 outcomes. So in all 4 of our current outcomes right now, we're able to see that our cash flow and our profit cumulatively on all 4 of these scenarios, they're pretty close. The most profitable one is actually a scenario where we look at something like this, which is actually having our sales rep there. That is the most profitable model there for us currently. And we can look at our income in each of these use cases to see what that looks like, right? Now let's kind of add in a different website conversion. So we can take this event, we can copy it, I'm going to paste this here, and instead of 5%, what if our conversion rate is actually less? What if it's something like 3%? So we're going to add that in. I'm going to path this back into our revenue event. And what you're going to see now is we're actually going to have 8 different outcomes all calculating concurrently right now. And we can see all of those, and we start to see there's a fairly big difference in our models when our conversion rate is not as high there. So that's going to be one of our big drivers, is that conversion rate, and we want to be able to monitor that fairly quickly to see what that looks like. What we can kind of do is we can bring any of these particular ones in, and we can see a scenario like this, for example, and sort of see that is definitely one of our lower use cases there. Okay. So bringing that back here again, in this particular model here, we have modeled out now 8 different what-if scenarios all running concurrently. We're able to look at that from a cash flow point of view, from a profit point of view. We can look at the number of customers that we have in all 8 of these particular models to see what our customer growth looks like over time. Keep in mind here, we can lock in any particular scenario at any stage. So maybe we want to stick with our original model of a 5% conversion. We can lock in that decision. It's going to gray out the second decision. And now we're looking at just these 4 particular scenarios. We compare website visitors in these different scenarios. We can compare expenses in these different scenarios. And obviously compare our overall cash flow and profitability. So that's whatifi. It's a great use case here for modeling out multiple different types of strategies all at the same time, being able to very easily click through these to see how those different outcomes play out over time.